Welcome to Give It a Nudge. We are here for yet another episode, and today we have Suvidh from PropHero. I'm excited about this because I actually don't know anything about PropHero, and it's rare that we get guests I know nothing about. So welcome to the show, Suvidh. Why don't you start by giving both me and our audience a very quick summary of what PropHero is and what you do?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me here, Steve.
Pleasure.
So PropHero, well, we like to define ourselves, or we used to like to define ourselves as the next-gen buyer's agency for Australian public.
Okay, interesting.
But over the last couple of years, so the business started about 2.5 years ago, we evolved into a wider prop tech, and we now are basically people's property wealth management partner.
Okay.
Right. So we use data, artificial intelligence, and all of that to pick good properties for clients, but we've evolved into a lot more using tech, etc., to manage full portfolios for our clients.
Okay, well, this is super cool. Now I'm really interested. Okay, so buyer's agents just seems very expensive to me. But anyway, that whole industry went from nothing to like that, and it's all ex-agents, and I still find the whole industry a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they get you a better deal or not. It's hard to know. So you saw that industry and you thought, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to use data to advise people as to whether that's a good property, right?
Correct.
Because everyone gives you these little formulas that you can do, and I'm horrific at anything financial, so I've never even bothered trying. And there's all the different valuations depending on when it was built and all that kind of stuff. So you're essentially automating all of that. Is that that's right? That's how it started.
To a certain extent. So how it started was our founder, Michael Roger. He was actually working for McKinsey, one of the top consulting firms in the world. He was the head of their artificial intelligence practice in Australia.
Cool. Wow.
That's
pretty impressive.
He basically found a gap in the market where, he was finding it really frustrating that most of the decisions to buy property were made on emotion.
Yes.
Right? And there was no objectivity. It was based on, the buying agent liked a particular area or had relationships in a particular area, and that's what they would recommend to their clients as the next hotspot.
Definitely relationships driven.
Yeah. So he thought, especially being a numbers guy, he thought, there has to be a better way. There has to be a more unemotional way, which can, take everything out of the equation and be purely based on numbers, statistics, data to make an informed choice. So he actually left his job at McKinsey.
Big cool.
Yeah. And started PropHero along with his co-founder, Pablo. So the two of them got together. He developed these cool artificial intelligence models where we now source data from 26 different sources available in Australia.
Okay.
There's about 200 different variables that are part of the artificial intelligence model. All the various parameters from those 26 sources go into this model. There's a different weighting allocated to each and every variable so that we take into account what impacts values of properties, etc., both historically and future predictions. And based on that, there are about 200 million plus permutations and combinations that then spit out the top 1 to 3%.
200 million?
200 million permutations and combinations.
Jesus.
Yeah, that basically, they spit out the top 1 to 3% of suburbs, and we constantly keep updating that list. So that's always happening in the background.
And so where's that data coming from? Because I know of, not RP data, whatever they're called now. Yeah. That's the only data source I've ever seen from property.
That's the thing. So there's CoreLogic, DSR, Australian Bureau of Statistics, Domain. Like there's, as I said, 26 different sources of data. Most of the, now so-called data companies or other buyer's agents, they're using on an average 4 to 5 sources.
Right.
Whereas we're using all 26 that are available, so a lot more comprehensive in our analysis.
And they're doing that with all their own biases as well, because obviously buyer's agents are very driven by their relationships.
Absolutely, and that's why they're using only those 4 or 5 metrics that justify the areas they want to buy in. Right. So it's a bit like back in the investment banking days. So I used to be an investment banker, and so was Michael. And back in the investment banking days, I still remember we used to do all these valuations for companies for mergers and acquisitions.
Yep.
And we'd put in hours and days into getting to a point where we valued a particular company for acquisition, and the managing partner would come in and say, actually, mark it up by 20%, that's what we're going to get it sold for. So the decision's made first, and then you make the data work according to it.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of things still operate, and it's not good. It's not in anyone's best interest.
No, and it's interesting you say take the emotion out of it. I know years and years ago, I was looking at investment properties, and everyone said you've got to take the emotion out of it. But you can't. You look at a property and they go, oh, that's going to be great. But you look at it and you go, I don't want to buy it. I hate it. It's like, but you're not going to live in it. It doesn't matter. I hate it. Humans are emotional, right?
Absolutely.
Particularly Australians, even though I'm English, around property. I've been affected, having lived here 25 years now, maybe, but it's fascinating. So let's go back a little bit to you and where you've come from. So you just mentioned you've come from investment banking. So what's your role now?
Okay, so I used to be an investment banker ages ago now, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Moved to Australia about 10 years ago.
Yep.
And then started my own business 7 years ago, which was actually a finance broking business.
Okay.
So I grew that business from scratch to a team of 20 over the past 6 years. And last year, I was awarded Australia's #1 mortgage broker.
Cool.
Now, when PropHero started, so
I'm not connecting the dots here.
yeah, so we'll get there. So my wife actually also works for McKinsey.
Right.
And when Michael left McKinsey, my wife actually asked me to get in touch with him because there was this guy who was starting the school business, which was kind of aligned to a finance broking business. So I picked up the phone, called Michael, and I said, hey, Nami just told me that, you're starting this. And I think technology is the way to go. Artificial intelligence is going to be really big. So, and this was in the middle of COVID.
Yep.
So we were doing a lot of webinars for education for our clients, etc. at the time. I said, why don't we do one thing? We spent a couple of hours talking about the product. And I said, you are just starting out. How about I help you by opening up my clients to you? And, you do a webinar for them. It'll be really good for them to understand how to be unemotional about property.
Yep.
And if you get anything out of it, that's good for your business. So it was a win-win.
Yeah.
We did that session. PropHero got some clients out of that. And that relationship just became very organic from there on. So we became very close friends, started helping each other with our businesses, etc. And a few months ago, both Michael and Pablo had to move overseas for two reasons. One, we were expanding the business internationally.
Yep.
But also they wanted to move to be closer to their families.
Okay.
And about 4 months ago, I got a call from Pablo saying, look, we've been thinking about it for 18 months. Why don't you come and join us? And that conversation lasted 3 days, and I took it up.
Continuously?
Yeah, well, so I got a call when Pablo was actually about to leave from Australia to go back to Spain.
Yep.
And I said, yeah, let's have a chat. He went back to Spain. A couple of days later, we arranged a call between the three of us, nutted out the details, and I moved over.
Super cool. So your role is you run the business here, right?
I run the business in Australia now, so I'm the CEO for Australia for the business.
Yep.
So bringing in some leadership so that we can grow the business more, while they are taking care of all the international expansion. So we've already started operations in 4 different countries with a few more planned.
So where have you gone? Where have you launched?
Indonesia, Spain, and Ireland, in addition to Australia.
Why Indonesia, Spain, and Ireland? I mean, I get Spain. That's where they're from. That makes a lot of sense. Why Ireland and Indonesia?
All the places where the numbers suggest there are good investments for our clients. So
he's still a McKinsey man at heart.
Absolutely. So we always look at providing different kind of options within a client's portfolio. So there's obviously geographical diversity, but also the Australian market is very geared towards capital gains, because of the way the taxation system here works. But a lot of clients do need some properties with really high rental yields,
income,
without going into the commercial space. They still want to invest in residential property. And that's where a couple of those markets come in, to provide that sort of an option to our clients.
Interesting. And so you said that you've kind of now sort of morphed into a wealth platform. So what's sort of happening? You mentioned that just before we started filming, there's products and stuff. What can you tell me? What can you talk about?
So we've recently actually launched the latest version of our app. So previously it was just a tracking app where a client could basically track their own property that they have bought on how it's performing.
Make them comfort around what's going on.
Correct.
Yeah.
Couple of weeks ago, we've launched version 2 of our app, which is called the PropHero Portfolio app. Now, what that does is there's a freemium version available that's out there on App Store and in Google Play for general public to download. And what you can do is you can download the app, put all your properties, mortgage details, property manager details, everything onto the app. And again, using technology, AI, data, etc., we're going to, in the back end, keep analyzing everything for the clients. And whenever their mortgage is not at the most optimum rate, for example, they'll get a smart alert saying, click here to talk to your mortgage broker so that you can get a better rate because your rate is not the best in the market.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You still got your mortgage broking business?
I have already exited that.
I was going to say, does it happen to suggest that a business?
No. So that was one of the things. We did have a discussion around whether I should keep that business or not. And we made a call very early on that it wouldn't be it would basically be a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I
that,
get it. I can see
right?
that. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't, because you're still trying to.
Yeah, absolutely. But we wanted to make sure we grow in a way that it's absolutely unbiased for each and every one of our partners. So I actually sold my business to the rest of my team, and exited that business completely before moving to PropHero.
Cool, amazing. Well, I would suggest that app is going to be very busy in the coming years, right? We've got a lot of changes. What everyone thinks, we've got a lot of changes coming. Though everyone's hoping for a lot of changes coming. So it'll be, I mean, the perfect time to launch it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the launch already happened, and now we are working on making it even better through feedback from both existing as well as new clients. So we've already had free users sign up, and they can just avail of all the opportunities available within the app. They also get to see the kind of properties we've bought for our clients already, and if they want in, again, they just have to press a button, and someone from our team will get in touch with them.
Okay, so you just mentioned the properties you bought. So explain to me how that works, right? So obviously you've got your app, you've got the analytics, you've got all the data, you've got the unemotional. In terms of actually facilitating that purchase, are you involved in that part as well, like a buyer's agent would be?
Yes, absolutely, and that's where the human element comes in.
Yeah,
because you don't want a machine buying your property for you.
Not if it goes wrong, no.
So what we do is we do all the analysis and zero in on the suburbs that we're going to buy.
Yep.
But then when someone signs up with us, we basically do a strategy session with them. So we don't talk about the property that you want to buy straight away. We talk about what your 5 or 10 year plan is.
Yep.
Right. And from there we start working backwards to see, okay, so in order to get to that point, what is the strategic choice you need to make today to be able to get you there? And that's where we bring in their mortgage broker, their accountant, everyone into the conversation to try and understand how that can be structured and what this current property should look like to help them get there.
Interesting.
Now, once that is done, that's where our property coaches, as we call them, which are our licensed buyers agents, they are on the ground all the time. So they basically, start working with those clients. We've got a full supply team who's always looking for off-market opportunities in all those suburbs.
Of course.
And a strategic brief goes out to the supply team saying, look, client X needs a property with these metrics. And then we straight away start reaching out to all the agents in those suburbs and start finding properties from them. Typically, anywhere from 3 to 5 days, we're able to find the first property for our clients.
How good's that? So how long have you been going?
Just under 3 years.
That's wild what you've achieved in that period of time. That's crazy.
And it's all thanks to the people who've trusted within the business as well, right? Our team is very dedicated, but also the investors.
Yep.
We've had their full backing, and we own one of the very few prop techs in the world that are actually doing well and growing.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'd come across a lot of prop techs, and you're right. It's an interesting space. There's a few. And so, in terms of your funding, are you funded by venture capital? Have you got individuals? How's that? Yeah.
So we've got venture capital funding from a few VCs based out of Australia, Spain, and the US.
Yep.
And we're now gearing towards doing a Series A towards the end of this year.
The magic Series A. Apparently, that's when you've made it. That's what they say.
Yep.
How awesome! And so for you, what an amazing journey, like to go from sort of your corporate career banking to starting your own business to now being a tech, I guess you're a tech founder kind of thing? Kind of.
Yeah. I do get confused for a tech founder.
And tell me, what's been the hardest thing about that for you? Because you've got 3 very different careers. Like investment banking is totally different to a mortgage broking business, which is totally different to running a tech business. How has that journey been for you personally?
See, personally, the journey hasn't been that difficult. And I think I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by some really, really good people. And I think that comes from, again, being a very people-oriented person. So I don't treat anyone as numbers, whether it's my own team or our clients. We're very passionate about helping our clients grow, but also our team grow. And most of the, recruitment that we do is purely based on, not just the needs of the business, but what the individual is like, what they want to achieve in their career, whether we always, again, just like the clients, we talk about what your 10-year plan is, right? And how can we as PropHero help you get there within our ecosystem while you help our clients grow. Yeah. And that's always been a good thing because the employee morale stays high. They buy into the vision and they help us grow as well.
And of course, you're in tank stream, so it doesn't get any better than that.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely, love it.
So I like this question because not a lot of people talk about it, but I guess and this can be personally or this can be business. You can answer this either way or both. It's entirely up to you. What's been the hardest thing or the biggest mistake that's happened along that way? Because we all know the journey of running and building businesses, and it can be probably, we'll keep it a PropHero as opposed to your previous business, but there are tough things. Where do you feel you probably learnt the most by something that went wrong?
Look, we make mistakes all the time.
Absolutely.
Right? Like everyone does. I think what's important is how we learn from those mistakes, as you said. One of the mistakes I think we made was we went too quickly into the first app that we designed. Yeah. But the good thing was we realized very quickly as well that MVP wasn't going to cut it, with especially the kind of vision we had. So to the team's credit, we were very quickly able to pivot and start planning for the major upgrade in the app, and make sure we weren't just seen as a prop tech, but we actually want to evolve into being one of the best fintechs in the country and in the world. So that's what we are now gearing towards, and I think that was the biggest challenge, but it's become one of our biggest strengths now. Okay,
how good's that? And how many you got in the team now?
So in Australia, we've got about 22 people now.
Yeah.
But worldwide, we actually stand at 99.
Oh, wow.
So we're waiting for number 100.
So you've obviously got offshore teams.
We've got about 15 people offshore. Yeah. We've got about 40 odd in Spain.
Yep.
Yeah.
So number 100, that's a little coveted role.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's talk about that. So I know you will be growing this year. So if someone is watching this going, I love this, particularly if it's a real estate agent, maybe. I don't know. Tell me, why would someone want to come and work for PropTech?
Because, as I said, we believe in people. So whether it's our own employees or our clients, we want to do the best for each and everyone. We don't want to spread misinformation. We don't want to take anyone else for a false ride. We just are very, very dedicated to being a solution provider for anyone who works with us. And the entire team actually genuinely believes in that, and each and everyone lives through that ethos. So I think that's one of the biggest strengths we have as PropHero.
That's cool. Have you been over to Spain yet?
I have actually, to Spain, to Bali, both the places, to visit our projects.
Oh, is it? Are you running out of Bali? Makes sense.
Yes.
I mean, that's a massive property boom going on.
Correct. So we are doing some villas in Bali along the beaches for our clients, and then we also are now exploring some luxury accommodations in the hills.
It's really going nuts there, isn't it? There's a lot of Australians and English there.
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. I wonder what will happen. Cool. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on. What's nice? It's nice to hear prop tech that's going well. That's one thing.
Yep.
And it's nice to hear a prop tech that's, I guess it's not a commercially focused prop tech, which is unusual, but it's genuinely solving a problem, right? And almost a gap, and a problem that was created only a few years ago by buyers agents popping up out of nowhere. So it's almost like a maturing of the industry, I think, to some degree.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. I know you're flying straight off to Melbourne after this, but thank you for coming on, and we look forward to watching you grow.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching today, guys. New episodes coming every week, as you know, so don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next week.